With Justin Vernon, who is my favorite living artist. I love Justin the way Kanye loves Kanye.
Justin Vernon's story is nearly a cliche by now. His band broke up, him and his girlfriend broke up, and to top it off, he got sick with mono before escaping to an isolated cabin in the winter. There, a broken human poured himself into his music and crafted a critically acclaimed, platinum-selling, emotionally dense folk album. Then he proved it wasn't a fluke with his Grammy-winning follow-up Bon Iver, Bon Iver. But this third release is where we witnessed an unexpected shift, a reinvention. Complex called 22 Million Bon Iver's most Kanye-sounding album yet. And Kanye's influence is definitely there. That is, if you know what you're looking for. And Vernon even takes it a step further. But what if I told you 22 Million wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for Kanye West? Vernon's relationship with Kanye West began with the track Woods. It features only Vernon's vocals, but they're completely soaked in auto-tune. Hip-hop's favorite plugin at the time. It's where Vernon was inspired to use the audio tool. The year before, Kanye released 808s and Heartbreak, where auto-tune was heavily used. But unlike T-Pain, West's use of the plugin serves more purpose here. The autotune removes Kanye's individuality from his vocals, helping to produce a hauntingly personal album. 808s focuses on themes of loss, feelings of alienation, and self-reflection. Themes Vernon was well acquainted with. And on Woods, Vernon was in isolation, still down on his mind, distilling his feelings into song, but obscuring the emotion with autotune. The effect was something Vernon could hide his vulnerability in. Kanye liked Woods so much he featured it on his next album. I'm lost in the world, but now on a track about feeling lost and searching for fulfillment. Again, Vernon could relate. Following his sophomore, Justin needed time to focus on his mental health and wanted to remove himself from the overwhelming attention the new album brought. So this time he fled to the Greek islands alone in search of himself. But he didn't find what he was looking for in Greece. Believe it or not, it was Kanye's words that helped remind Vernon to look after himself.
That's the main thing people are controlled by. Thoughts, their perception of themselves. They're slowed down by their perception of themselves. If you're taught you can't do anything, you won't do anything. I was taught I could do everything.
Vernon says that Kanye speaks of how you have to love yourself and believe in yourself. After hearing what he needed to, Vernon set forward to finish his next album. West recruited Vernon's voice again for his album Yeezus, before the two collaborated with Francis Starlight on the song Friends. And the track used a new voice effect created by Starlight, called the Prismizer. You can hear its first use on Chance the Rapper's Coloring Book mixtape. Using the harmony engine, the plugin takes a lead vocal and splits it into multiple harmonies, like light through a prism. Francis created a beautiful electronic choir effect that could map vocals to a keyboard and manipulate it with melody. Already a fan of autotune, Vernon wanted to adapt the Prismizer for 22 Million, but the effect could only be applied after the vocals were recorded. So Vernon and his engineer Chris Messina got to work on creating something that could generate the effect in real time. The final product was the Messina, a combination of hardware and software capable of producing the Prismizer's effect on the fly. Watch as Vernon bends and distorts Michael Lewis's saxophone with it. The result is one thing sounding like a lot of things. It creates this huge choral sound. On 715 Creeks, Justin strips everything down to just his voice and the Messina alone. And it's a testament to what Bon Iver does best on this album, and that's celebrating the human voice. If Kanye taught Justin Vernon anything, it was this. Kanye has been sampling and manipulating the human voice since his debut. The only thing that I pray is that my feet I want Jesus to. In fact, he's been utilizing Vernon's voice in his own music to the same degree. but Kanye uses vocals to build a track, disguising them as additional instruments. And Vernon does the same right from the first track of his third album. 22 Over soon begins with a loop of his own voice, and this stem runs the whole duration of the track. He then layers in pitch-shifted vocals before introducing his natural voice. We don't hear an instrument other than the human voice until nearly a minute in. And when we do, it's quickly followed by the first sample on the album, a snippet from Mahalia Jackson's How I Got Over. The majority of samples on the album are of the human voice. 33 God features at least 4 other voices aside from Vernon's.
When we were young, I smiled.
Kanye gave Justin the courage to finish 22 A Million, and his use of autotune turned Justin onto manipulating his own voice and using the human voice more as an instrument. Emotions really come forward through the human voice, but when you use autotune or the Messina, it somewhat kills that honest emotion. It aims to buff the rough edges of our voices and makes us sound unhuman. So we wind up with a very interesting juxtaposition. Artists who are trying to convey some heavy sentiments in their lyrics through an effect made to correct faults. You can hear Vernon's voice trying to break through the digital distortion, and it's perfect. When the subject matter of a song is about identity or the absence of it, that's what makes 22 A Million fit in with previous Bon Iver albums, with all Vernon's work. It's profoundly human.
It might be over soon.
Patrons, I love you. You have been the lifeblood of this channel. Thank you for your continued support. For as low as $1, my patrons get their name in the credits, sneak peeks at new videos, and more. So if you can, please consider heading over to patreon.com/middle8 to donate. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like rating, subscribe to learn more about the music you love, and if you're interested in hearing more about Kanye's frequent collaborations, my friends over at ShuffleQuest just put up a video about Kid Cudi and Kanye's relationship leading up to their joint album that arrives next week. You can follow the video on the screen, and that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and keep listening.